Street greeting. Yeah, it's time for me to blast through talking about some plastic robots in front of you once again. Of course, the time came when some money hit my bank account, so some of it went on plastic things from a very wondrous shop, which we'll talk about in a minute. First of all, because there's actually quite a bit here, there's probably enough here that could have constituted like a whole monthly catch-up thing, but whatever. Let's start off with Scorn, because basically the day my money came in, I went to a Forbidden Planet and found him in an American box, which means you don't just get the one line of bio where it says, it has the jaws of a dino. You get 3 lines instead. But it's still quite metal because it calls him a warhammer on legs, and that was like, yeah. So I got Scorn. You may be thinking, why did you get him from Forbidden Planet? Because they're notoriously more expensive than anywhere else, but it was the same price he would have been in Toys R Us, so I thought, while I'm in there, pick him up. But here he is, finally got him, finally joined the Scorn Club. And yeah, I know, sorry, I'm a bit late to this party. Everyone already knows how good this thing is, and loads of people have already spoken about it. But man, it's good, isn't it? I'm finding a lot to like about this thing. I mean, let's start off with Beast Warsiness. Basically, he's got a head, hand, and he's got a tail, arm, and I'm loving this asymmetry and just the sort of beastie detailing. The way he transforms is so Beast Wars in such a nice way. I love the way that the feet make themselves like this, and he's poseable. He just looks cool with that knight helmet, just like it's like his head is an anvil. He will wreck you. And his wings on his back and the massive shoulders, there's a lot to like here. But at the same time, I have to say, I don't really like his legs very much. On camera, it's not always that noticeable. As soon as you hold the thing in hand and look at it from multiple angles, it's just like, what's going on? As soon as you get below his waist, or below like this point, his proportions go mental. It's just like his legs are too short and they're too skinny, and which of these joints is actually meant to be his knee, because neither of those looks good working as a knee, and I don't know. Looks cool enough, especially when you remember to splay out these leg panels, but it's like, what's going on? What's going on with his legs, man? Why has he got teeth on his hips when his head's here? But yeah, Scorn, yeah, he's good. I know everyone's already said that, and you were probably expecting me to say that, but yeah, I do like him. He is just... It's not necessarily the way either mode looks, but the way he works. It just ticks some boxes that I didn't even realise I needed to be ticked in this day and age. Feels good, man. Bonus points for the serrated Rambo knife. And now we move on to a lovely little cache of robots that have all come from one wondrous place that I have now made my 3rd pilgrimage to. Yes, indeed, I've been to all the cool stuff again. Me and John drove down there, and it was a bit of a sort of extra special run this time. Felt a bit like a sort of 0.01% of AA, because while we were in there, who stumbled through the door but a Dave Mentz? A wild Smuzno appeared, and we chatted with him for a while, and we saw him giggle over the robots in there in person, and he sort of pointed at a few things that he thought were nice and was like, you've got to have that, you've got to have that. And so I just sort of thought, maybe he's right. But first off, one of the offerings that the god Mr. Tree did dig out for me, Generation Dreadwing. This is very nice indeed. I mean, I wasn't even that sure I wanted him. I mean, coming down to uni, as I did a few weeks ago, I did really want to bring my Generation's Megatron with me. But at the same time, I was sort of like, nah, do I really like him that much? Days leading up to leaving, I couldn't put that thing down. I, for some reason, suddenly decided I really liked it. And so I just thought, well, maybe I will get Dreadwing, because he's the same thing but in G2 colours, and once I saw it in hand I was I've got to have that. These colours are excellent, and the camera is not doing them justice, because this blue is so dark and deep. In some lights it looks purple. Other times it's just really nice dark blue, and then you got all this sort of turquoisey stuff, and he just pops so hard, and he looks so 90s, and oh, G2, man. It's even got the G2 Decepticon symbols on there. And then you get to the pièce de résistance, which is this truly Generation 2, properly powerful, formidable light piping. It's been a very long time since I have had a figure that has had piping like this. It's truly a light of a billion suns flowing through this visor. It actually is on par with Generation 2 Power Dive, which I think might have to be the most powerful light piping piece in my collection, and it's just like, my god, this is how you do a G2 homage. Just get the light piping right, and the colours. Doesn't matter about anything else, doesn't matter about the detailing, doesn't matter that it just looks like that Megatron in different colours, even though I'm really not seeing that. While this figure, this mould was made to be that IDW Megatron, I just can't see that in this anymore, because it's blue and he's got a visory, mouseplatey, more robot-y looking head with amazing light piping. I think I might like this more than Megatron, especially with all the silver trim that you get on the edge of the bomber mode. Just rocks my face off, this thing. So if you don't have a Dreadwing, you've got to get one. You've got to get one. Maybe you don't like G2, but I mean, I was just stood there and all the cool stuff and thought, you know what, I'm going to go a bit G2 mental today, because yeah, I think I do care about G2 more than G1. It's all about that obscurity. It's all about the fact that I was born in that time, and it's just all about things like this. Please, Hasbro, please give me more G2 goodness, because I think I need this to live. Bonus shout out to the weird sort of chicken comb effect you've got on this mohawk on his head. Kinda makes me think of the other Dreadwing that looks like a chicken. But what was that other Generation 2 based component of this haul, I hear you cry? Well, it can only really be one thing at the moment, can't it? G-Axis. Yeah, I bought G-Axis. It's only like the other video I did where I was sitting there like saying, oh, what's up with G-Axis? Yeah, I got him. I really don't understand why. I really like this thing. I look at it and just think, that looks really nice. And I really like it as a toy. I mean, for a classics figure of G-Axis, this does not do it. What is this? Why? Why is he a remold of Starscream? Why is he... What is going on? There are too many questions here. Number one, why is he Dayglow orange? Because even in the IDW comics, he is not really this colour. He's kind of orange. Is this a homage to that, like, Beast Machines repaint they did that was the only other figure of G-Axis? And then it's like the head sculpt is pretty darn good. It's properly, intensely detailed. There's like 3 different kinds of paint on it. That looks really IDW-ish. Just looks like E.J. Sue's first design for his head rendered in plastic, and that's amazing. But then you look at the rest of him and it's just like, why does the cockpit look like this? Why is it all remoulded so much to this degree? Where do these details come from? Why do the wings look like this? Why are they reminding me of something else I just can't put my finger on? Why have they made the first remold of that Starscream G-Axis and not Armada Skywarp, which is the one that it should have been? Why does he have like double Uzis? What is going on with this thing? But saying all that, with all these weird enigmas aside, I really like it. There's just something about the cut of his jib that I really do quite enjoy. The shape of the chest here, the way everything up here, this whole shelf has been remoulded and redone. It gives you this sort of triangular pointed thing, and there's kind of IDW-ish stuff going on here. You've got these 2 sort of bolts set in the top of his chest, and you've got this angular look, kind of looked like that when he started off. But the rest of him, it's just like, why? I really do not understand the whole cockpit thing that goes on here. I mean, it's cool how all that folds up and just goes in his chest, and that looks good, and I've seen far too many people display him like that. No, this folds away hello, but why does the cockpit have all this stuff on it? Why are the wings like this? Why? What? Brain melting uncomprehension aside, yeah, this is a good toy. I mean, I really like that Armada Starscream mould. I mean, I think I still prefer it as Starscream, just because I'm the massive Armada fanboy that I am. It was made to be that, and it just feels so cool like that. But this just feels like a really fun thing because it's based on that. Because you've got these legs that move so nicely, and without those sort of fins sticking out here, it means you can actually get his knees all the way up there. You can have him like squatting down. How many Transformers can you get to do that? But yeah, G-Axis is, I don't know whether I'd really recommend him. I mean, at least on mine, this elbow does not want to move any further than that when that one goes like more than 90. I don't know what's going on here. There's flashing or something in there, I suppose it's just stopping it. But he feels just strange because he is good and I enjoy him. I can't put my finger on what it is I like about this. Is it the way it looks? Is it the way it feels? Is it the way it poses? I don't know. You get the cannons over his shoulders and that looks a bit silly, and why are the ends clear? And I think I have to step back and just realise that this is the only proper figure of proper G-Axis that we've got. Yeah, it's not white and red and yellow and green like he was in proper G2, and he never looked like this in the comics. Even that one time that he stole Starscream's body just to justify this toy existing, because they were like, oh, we've got to put the toy in the comics, how can we have this thing appear in the comics when G-Axis looks like some sort of hunched over whatever the hell he is. But yeah, there you go, it's G-Axis. I think part of the sort of like I have for this figure is rubbing off onto the category in my mind of I like G-Axis as a character. It's like this is making me like G-Axis and sort of want to draw him and things like that, and that's like, what's going on there? I mean, in the comics, even though he's a character that's been there since like the very first sort of storyline, I've never really liked him as a character. He's never really been very fleshed out. He's just been the insane, completely ethic-free scientist, and it's just like, no, he's never really done a lot. You've never seen him transform. He never once transforms in the comics. And so it's like, why did they suddenly decide we needed a figure of him? And why did they suddenly make it this thing? Oh, I need to stop talking about it because I just don't understand. But nevertheless, you know, if you like Dayglow Jetman, then maybe go for him. I don't know. One thing to say though, I've just seen the symbols on his wings, which you won't be able to make out. They're not straight. That one's straight. That one's wonky. Oh well. That's enough chinwagging about dubious G2 homages. Let's move on to something new and something shiny and something that I wasn't quite sure I wanted. Again, a bit like G-Axis, it took seeing in hand to really think, oh, actually that's quite nice. I'm going to qualify the following statement by saying I think Skyhammer is okay. Drift makes him a hell of a lot better. Yes, this thing is quite lovely. Once again, it's a bit of a like, I don't understand why this thing exists, but I like it. Yeah, Dark the Moon Skyhammer, which you can find on my second ever episode of Twit, I think. I got him, and you know, he was the only like non-movie character in the movie line that was a Voyager, and he was pretty cool because he was an interesting design because of the way the rotor blades went like that, and he looked different and cool, and everyone was like, oh, he's the best thing. And I got him, and he was kind of cool, but for a very long time he was just sort of like, yeah, he's okay, you know. But this, making him into Drift, making that into a samurai, it just feels right. I don't know why. This totally redeems that mould. I mean, it's still annoying that he hasn't got any thigh swivel. His legs just get on my nerves still. But overall, this feels like a better figure as well. Because my Skyhammer has a loose arm. You can't put anything in his hand, it will just go boop. And I think overall the joints just feel just that perfect tolerance. drift feels good and he looks good because there is so much paint on here. So many little bits of light blue and gold, and there's all this stuff in his middle, and it just, yes, this is how you do a repaint these days. I mean, yeah, I was on the fence about this thing because it was just a bit like, you know, I've got Skyhammer, I don't need a repaint of him. You know, Drift was a helicopter for all of 2 seconds in the film. He doesn't need to have, you know, this figure exist to just you get a helicopter representation of him. Why is he a Voyager? Why does he look like this? Why did they choose Skyhammer? Why? But then you look at the thing and realise that it looks really good holding these massive swords, and with this, you know, Ken Watanabe head sculpt, it's all good. I mean, if you like your movie toys, just buy it. Doesn't matter that it's not screen accurate, because it's just a bloody good new toy. It's a nice bonus that you still get the missile pods that Skyhammer had, and you know, he's still covered in 5mm ports, and you've still got the 3mm clips on here, and Dark of the Moon was such a good line, wasn't it? It turned out so many nice things, it was so playable. So I guess it all comes down to this. You give a figure I like new hands, a new head, and giant swords that you can stick together into an even bigger sword, I'll probably buy it, because this thing is an awful lot of fun. And if, like me, you're on the fence about it because you just thought, I've got Skyhammer, I don't need drift, I just want the car drift, I don't want the helicopter drift, then, you know, give it a think, because really this is something that's worth having. I think this could end up being up there with some of the best figures that we get from the movie line, and it's a flipping repaint. So that was me spending far too much money on lovely new things from all the cool stuff. But yeah, it's just always a nice time going down there, seeing Mr. Tree, saying hello, seeing what's new, standing there staring at things for far too long, deciding what to buy, and then coming out of there just feeling like, yeah, I've got some lovely new stuff. But not just having lovely new stuff, just seeing lovely new stuff, because it's nice to just see things that you might not want, and even if you see them, you still might not want them, but it's just nice to see stuff, you know? It's so much better looking at things in a shop than looking at them on a screen. But anyway, it didn't take me long to then go and buy even more things, because it might have been the day after. Went into Smythe's, saw that they had loads of one-step figures reduced, and they had the wave that is basically, you know, not Drift, Grimlock and Optimus. So of course, seeing it reduced, I had to finally have some version of Lockdown. As I was buying it, John was basically saying to me, no, don't do it, it's terrible, don't, you'll regret it, no, that's why I regret that, no, you're going to open it up, you're not going to like it, no. I really like this thing, I really, really do. First off, car mode. This is sex, look at it, it's a dark silver faux Lamborghini. Yes, it's not the proper licensed Aventador, only the Generations one is, but this still looks really cool. It's like they've taken that real Lamborghini, taken all the sort of, I don't know, superficial detail, cranked it up to 11 and just made this mental, really cool looking car. I really like it, and it is insanely detailed. All the grills are properly sculpted and it just looks really cool, and for some reason I like the fact there's a hole through here so it's like you can see inside, and yeah, it's covered in lines and it's got a stupid big button here on the windshield, but this car looks really nice. And then you press the button a few times because mine's got a bit stuck, poke his arms out and you've got a lockdown. Yeah, only his arms move at the elbows and it's not even 90 degrees. I'm not getting a sad face from that. I honestly couldn't care. It's Lockdown. All he has to do is stand there looking menacing. He is just really nice. I'm sorry. It's a cheapy one-step simple thing, but God, look at the detail. I wish that I could properly show you it. Actually, no, I am going to properly show you it because I've already filmed a little sort of well-lit, many quotation marks there, because it looked to have a lot better on the camera viewfinder than it does in the final thing because it was a bit dark. But yeah, I've already filmed a sort of kind of review, bit of an unorthodox review. I don't say anything, it's just looking at the thing, because Dave Shotton, when I got this, said on the Facebook group, can you do a review? And I thought, you know what, I'm going to film something. So Dave, look out for that soon. It's all for you. You can have a good old squint at this thing because the detail is mind-blowing. I paid £7.50 for this, and I'm pretty sure that the proper deluxe one I'm going to end up paying like 30 quid for won't be as detailed as this. Every little nook and cranny on his chest, everything. The sculpting is insane, and I would just really, really like to have seen this level of stuff on the proper one, because it's even in his back, behind this roofy panel bit. If you can look in there, he's got the spine sculpted, he's got all the stuff sculpted on his back, but you won't ever see his back. That's crazy. Everything here is just spot on detail, and it's astounding. And adding all the shiny silver that's covered in on his chest, oh, it looks so good. Yes, £7.50 well spent. If you want a nice little cheapy fun desk toy lockdown that looks amazing stood there, head to your Smythes, man. Yeah. I mean, okay, one thing, maybe I wish he had the handsome Squidward face, but I think for some reason this kind of figure not having a properly serious, ultra realistic face kind of is a plus point, because I think if you gave this figure, which obviously isn't particularly ultra realistic with the way all the kibble goes, having the proper face on him probably would have taken something away from it. I don't know. Having the visor face, just that, you know, expressionless green mask, I think it looks good. And then, you know, adds a bit of playability as well. Use your imagination. You can think that, oh, he's got the visor down, he's using his heat vision to look at things, or he's about to turn his head into the sniper rifle. When a figure hasn't got any weapons like this, when it's hardly posable, I think any little bit of detail that can suggest that you can have a bit more fun with it is better than just, you know, accuracy. So yeah, I really like everything about this, and I'm just finally happy to have any form of lockdown. And yeah, I do still want the deluxe one, preferably the Takara one, but this is certainly going to tide me over for a good while because it's just really nice. And contrary to popular belief, it's not hard to get back into a car at all. Look at that. So that's it for now, apart from saying that after there was that spate of everyone posting pictures of Kinder Egg Transformers they put on a Facebook group, I went and got one and got Bulkhead, just pointing that out there. He's round, kind of works. I don't understand why he's made out of gears and you can take him apart, but I got some chocolate and a tiny little weird looking transformer thing, so that's alright, isn't it? And then, because some strange impulse overtook me, I decided I wanted to try those superhero mashers, and of course there are Transformers ones, but they all look rather terrible. Maybe the Drift one has something that appeals to me, but they look so spongy, they look like they're made out of cake, and no thank you. So I went to try a Marvel one, because I'm always a sucker for a good character. Now, how often do we get figures of Ghost Rider? I had to have a Ghost Rider one. So yeah, there he is. He's all flamey up top and scully, and the proportions are weird, he looks all cartoony, but he's big and solid and he has a big rubbery chain. So there's that. Might get some more, but I don't honestly know who you'd want to swap the parts around with Ghost Rider. I suppose you could give everyone a flaming skull head, but maybe that's just a bit too metal. But at least now I've got a figure that's appropriate for Halloween. Spooky! Latest potatoes.